Tell us a little about you and your experience.
I'm the senior fundraising coach here at Get Fully Funded, and I have about 15 years experience working in the nonprofit sector and also coaching and training nonprofits. By nature, I'm a highly organized, process-oriented person who loves planning things. I've created programs at nonprofits from the bottom up, developed key systems within nonprofit operations to make things run effectively, more efficiently. And when it comes to fundraising and marketing and communications, I've experienced firsthand how having plans in place and following them allows you to reach your fundraising goals, whether it's donor retention, income and revenue, or new followers and a loyal donor base.
Okay, around here at Get Fully Funded, we are all about planning. Everything we do starts with a plan, whether we're working with clients one-on-one or teaching people how to fundraise in our fundraising TV program. Everything starts with a plan. So talk about how planning has an impact on fall fundraising.
Sure. Well, first thing is you have to have a plan, right? There's just no way around that because, running a nonprofit, it's not easy. It's fast paced and there's always more to do than you have time in the day for, right? Folks are usually just trying to keep their head above water and are right there in that moment. They're going nonstop. And I get that. I really do. I've been there before. But when you're constantly in that momentum, you're not stopping to think. And by that, I mean, you're not spending time brainstorming or coming up with new ideas. Or if you do, you're doing it on the fly and it's really not fully thought out. But you're also not giving yourself space for creativity and figure out how best that you can connect on that emotional level with your followers to inspire them, right? So chances are you're probably not committing time to developing relationships with your donors either. And all of this, of course, is essential and it's very key to successful fundraising and things that have to be done throughout the year to set yourself up for success in the fall time. So with our clients, we've seen it time and time again when they take the time to plan out their fundraising, to develop the right messaging, to share the most heartwarming stories that they can come up with, to figure out the most effective strategies to use, to find these matching gifts and to actually follow this plan, that they end up having these fantastic results. And it makes the time and the energy that they've put into all of this extremely rewarding when they got that money just, coming in at the end of the year.
I have talked to so many clients lately that have told me almost exactly that same thing, that the difference between past years when they struggled and they barely raised any money and last year when they had goal busting results was because they had a plan. We know that. So obviously the place where most nonprofits mess up is
not having a plan.
Right.
Not having a plan. I was actually just talking with one of my clients this week. It's a Christy Silverberg Rose at Bethany's Gate Ranch out in Prescott, Arizona. She attended Inspired Fundraising Retreat last year. And she said it made such a difference knowing exactly what she needed to do and by when, what dates last year, and just not waiting until that very last minute. And she explained how before she ever took the time to plan in advance like this, that she'd find herself like in the middle of November, having missed these opportunities for us to ask for money in the fall and not having put enough warm touches out there throughout the year. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, today is Giving Tuesday. What am I going to do? Like it snuck up on her. And then she'd be rushing just to put something out there and she might get some money, but it wasn't very good. So when I was chatting with her, she said she's actually very excited this year about the upcoming fundraising season because she knows exactly what she has to do. And I mean, she's got that plan right in front of her. And she's wanting to commit to that plan because she knows it works. I think she said she raised $7,000 last year, which was way more than she had ever raised before. And so, I love that she gets excited about this, having that plan. It's so much easier on her. It's not as stressful. It's not as overwhelming. And she knows she's going to get these great results because she did last year. It's kind of like a proven thing. So she's super excited about it.
That's awesome. To me, that is a very rewarding thing when we have someone who starts working with us and they're in a place of, I don't know about fundraising. I'm not too comfortable. And then in a few months or maybe even a year later, they say, I really like fundraising now. This is great.
Yes.
Love that. Tell us about a time when you saw somebody have that kind of result, when they really just blew things out of the water. And I know what story you're going to tell, and I can't wait for people to hear this.
As soon as you were saying that, Jenny Wilburn at Beautiful Feet Ministries Tanzania, she popped in my head. I started working with her last July, right, with her fundraising coaching. And so she came to us because she needed help with the fundraising plan, putting systems in place to actually manage all those fundraising plans, the marketing communications activities. But then she also wanted some accountability, right? Because she wanted somebody to make sure that she was supposed to be doing what she's supposed to be doing. And the thing about Jenny is that she didn't really put any plans in place, or in writing, I should say. And she had a really hard time sticking to these timelines. And they snuck up on her all the time. She would tell me, she's like, oh yeah, oh my gosh, I thought I had plenty of time, and oh my gosh, here it is. It just popped up on me. So that meant that she was doing fundraising there at the very last minute. She was stressed out about it. She was, throwing stuff together because it was last minute. And then she would just kind of sit back and hope for the best. Now, her appeals didn't really do so bad. It really didn't. She has a fantastic base of donors, but she knew that they could do better, right? And if I remember correctly, they'd raised a few $1,000s in Giving Tuesday in 2019. Like I said, not so bad. So last August, she and I sat down and we took this 120-day fall fundraising plan and we customized it for her organization. It took a minute to do it, maybe a couple hours, something like that, from start to finish. But when we got done, we had this plan in place that she felt was doable. She sat back, she's like, oh, I can do that. And it was something she felt she could stick to, something that would keep her on track. And, that and me and her chatting every single week so I could hold her accountable. And so you jump forward then to the end of last year, to the end of 2020. And she was absolutely ecstatic with the results that she'd gotten. So not only had her plan made her fundraising season easier to manage, but they experienced like record-breaking donations. It was so exciting. They'd actually never done a fall appeal before. So they got one of those out the door in October. And guess how much that they ended up raising?
Sure, it's a lot.
It was like $15,500, somewhere around in there. And she was like, oh my gosh, I am blown away. Then they turned around and we had plans in place for Giving Tuesday. She got like a $6,000 matching gift from her board and other large donors. And her Giving Tuesday ended up bringing in $20,000. And so she was excited. She's like, she was blown away. I'm still blown away thinking about their success, because this happened because she had this plan and she stuck with it. I know I keep saying plan, stick with it, but she did. And now with her fundraising season this year, she's definitely not stressed out. Again, just like I was saying with Christy, she's got this plan in front of her. She's not stressed out. She knows what she has to do and by when she's got to do it. And she knows if she sticks to that plan, it's going to be successful.
The other thing that pops out at me about these stories, and I can remember this from my own experience, is because those ladies had a great fundraising season last year, they can take last year's plan and basically rinse and repeat it. There may be a few things they learn that they could do different. Sure. They don't have to start from scratch this year.
Not at all.
That's what I love about it. That makes me super happy. Okay. Yeah. So what's one thing that you hope people are going to take down in their notes about planning for the fall?
Here's what I would love. I love commitments, like people making commitments to plans and all that. So I would actually love for people to write down, I will create my fall fundraising plan by X date, right? And I also want them to put in there, it may not be perfect, but it'll be better than what I've had before. And it's going to be our best fall fundraising season either, right? So put a little bit of positivity, but you're putting your date in there, because I feel like there's a power in writing things down. It's almost like you're automatically holding yourself accountable for all this. And the beauty with Inspired Fundraising Retreat is that it gets people excited about, about getting going, right? You get pumped, you walk away with that feeling like you're completely stoked and like they're just going to conquer the world with what they've just learned. I mean, I've done that before when I've attended conference. I get out there, I'm like, yeah, everything's going to be great. I learned this new thing. I'm pumped. But then life happens and, there's the minutia of the job and everything else that's in your face. And pretty soon that little spark that you had, that little fire you had just kind of goes, right? And it dies. And so does that motivation that you had to get started. Excuse me. So the trick I feel with all of this is not to wait too long to get started. While this is fresh in people's heads and on their minds, I would encourage them to go ahead and get started. So carve out an hour or two. So Inspired Fundraising Retreat, it's on Thursday and Friday. So carve out an hour or two on Monday just to bust through as much of that plan as possible. Like just sit down, quiet space, do it in small chunks if you have to, but just sit down and get started on it. Because when you pull this plan together, you're going to feel exceptionally proud and excited that you have this plan. And it's certainly something that you have, like a physical thing that you can go to your board and say, look, board, this is what we're doing this year. Aren't you excited? I need your help on some of these things. And you can take it to your volunteers and your staff and you can show them what you have. And plus, people are just going to be exceptionally relieved to know exactly, again, what they need to do and by when they need to do it. So just write that down. I'm going to commit to creating my plan by X date. That's what I want people to write down in their notes.